May 22nd, Srila Prabhupada dictates points for his last will. On or about May 22nd, 1977, Srila Prabhupada dictates his last will to his secretary, Tamal Krishna. Tamal had written the will based on the transcripts from this recorded conversation.
The system of management will go on as it is now. There is no need of changing. The money which is in my personal name in different banks, that is being spent for the society, and it will be society property. In this connection, a few deposits which is allowed some pension to the members of my former family may not be taken. That's 2 points.
This is from discussions May 20 to 22nd, 1977 in Vrindavan. It's important to note that Srila Prabhupada originally gives only 2 points, which he considers were important enough to include in his last will. The very first, and arguably the most important point in Srila Prabhupada's own view, was the system of management shall remain as it is. There is no need of changing. He then gave a second point about how to handle the money in his personal accounts. Then Srila Prabhupada said, that's all, 2 points. Of those 2 points, only the first point had long-term ramifications for the society. After making these 2 points, Srila Prabhupada does ask Tamal for his opinion, and Tamal Krishna brings up several other points that Srila Prabhupada agrees they should be added. Most of those points had to do with temple management, GBC management of properties, etc. I will give more information on this for the June 2nd timeline entry, which is when I think it was Giriraj Maharaj read this transcript to Srila Prabhupada. It was the one that Tamal Krishna had drafted up. It's the draft copy. And a few changes were made before the final will was drawn up, and then Srila Prabhupada signed it. But what we can see is that the main purport of Srila Prabhupada's last will has to do with how ISKCON is to be managed after he departs. The system of management regarding how the society was managed was not to be changed. It was to continue as Srila Prabhupada had diligently set it up. Temple presidents and GBC are mentioned later on in the will. Also, a major point that was added to the will in the June 2nd meeting, which occurred after the May 28th meeting, was that Srila Prabhupada specifically instructed that the GBC, as the entire GBC body, was to become the ultimate authority in ISKCON after he departs. What is most conspicuous by its glaring absence is that there is no mention at all period of any sort of successor guru or gurus. Absolute zero mention of an ISKCON that would supposedly soon have multiple masters that would create so many drastic changes to how the system of management was to manage. Because somehow you had to force fit these guru authorities into that system, which he had instructed us not to change. While Srila Prabhupada was present, he was the one master for ISKCON. He held full authority over the GBC and the temple presidents. If there was to be a future ISKCON where a single successor guru were to exist, then it would follow that one guru successor would assume Srila Prabhupada's position of having full authority over the GBC and the temples or ashrams. That is the traditional system of what happens when the current Acharya appoints a single successor. Once the previous Acharya departs, the newly appointed successor will take over as the full authority over his guru's ashram. That is the traditional system. Yet Srila Prabhupada gives absolutely no mention of a single or multiple gurus in ISKCON's future in such an important document, his last will and testament. The whole purpose of that document was to give final instructions on how the mission would go on after he departs. This is actually very significant. Srila Prabhupada has announced that he will be leaving this world soon. He is now giving his final, last written will, his last instructions on how ISKCON was to be managed after he's no longer present. He began dictating this will on May 22nd, less than a week before the May 28th meeting, where the issue of initiations after he departs is discussed. And then on June 2nd, less than a week after the meeting, he finalizes his will, where he has added to that will that the GBC was to become ISKCON's ultimate authority after he leaves. And there is no mention of any other masters, authority, gurus. The GBC claimed that it was in the May 28th meeting where Srila Prabhupada says that he would soon select multiple men who will become regular gurus after he departs. Then why did he give no mention of such gurus in his last will? Guru is the ultimate authority for his disciples. Yet Srila Prabhupada specifically instructed that the GBC body shall become the ultimate authority for the members of ISKCON. And he gave no mention of any other future guru authorities for the members of ISKCON. I have already detailed the discrepancy this creates in my personal story here. So for now, I will not repeat all that here again. What is significant here regarding this timeline date is the fact that in this document, there is absolutely no mention of a future ISKCON with multiple gurus, even though he started dictating that will before the May 28th meeting and completed his will after that meeting.